The world is a global village.
And that's because information travels beyond boundaries.
And on this morning on ITV,
we guarantee unbiased analysis on topical issues
that will educate you,
entertain you.
So join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Every Sunday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television. This morning on ITV TMI. Join us. Thanks again for joining us on the show, TMI, beautiful Thursday morning. And right now, we bring our conversations on as we x-ray the cacophonous voices trailing the security situation in the country. Of course, the latest being from the National Assembly was passed a vote of no confidence on service chiefs by asking for their outright sack. And someone in that National Assembly has actually taken it to the next level. Let me put it that way. And that's talking about Senator Baribe, who has asked Mr. President to resign over what he described as his inability to protect lives and property. Let me get to meet our panelists for today. Barrister Friday Ogirahi is a former member of the Edo State House of Assembly and a practicing lawyer. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
It's a pleasure to be back here with you today.
We also have with us the program officer, Foundation for Good Governance and Social Change, Christopher Ojekere. Chris, it's always a delight to have you here.
Thank you, Sonny. Good morning, viewers.
Okay. Is this the height of the security challenge that we're having in the country with calls for the sack of service chiefs? Let's begin from there, Barrister Friday Ogirahi.
Well, I would say rather late than never, because just like corruption, insecurity in this country, for as long as has lasted, is gradually becoming something we take as normal. And only yesterday or so, of course, the media is awash with what the National Assembly resolved. Speeches made, resolutions taken at the National Assembly bordering on insecurity. And that's why for me I said it's been here for too long. And except that some very radical statements were made yesterday. We are not a nation in want of flowery species, fiery species. We are not a nation in want of that. But what we saw yesterday at the National Assembly, perhaps, was one way, perhaps, the National Assembly senators and members of the House of Representatives alike will want to tell Nigerians that they also feel the pinch. We have, since the advent of this administration, the first tenure and the second tenure, you will recall that one major reason why Nigerians felt that they needed to make a change by voting an alternative party, a party in opposition, against a party that has been in leadership for almost 60 years, was the fact that they no longer felt secured. Terrorism was assuming a monstrous dimension, and it makes the government appear at that time to be helpless in the face of the ravaging attacks from Boko Haram insurgents, as it were. And that is why in 2015, Nigerians troop out. And if the vote announced and the result is ready to go by, it is to suggest that yes, Nigeria massively voted for a Buhari administration, an APC administration, so that they can feel secure. So that all those promises that were made
will be fulfilled.
Campaign promises will be fulfilled. Particularly bordering on the fact that there were promises that in 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, as it were, we will no longer see Boko Haram or any form of violent attacks as it were. But alas, no sooner had the administration been sworn in that we even see, insecurity manifesting, violent insecurity manifesting in different forms. We have had to grapple with issues of Fulani herdsmen attack, which is still going on. We have had to grapple with the issue of kidnapping, which is still going on. We have had to grapple with the issues of shared murder, which is still ongoing. And the disruption this has caused. You will agree with me, or perhaps you recall that in Benue, for instance, it got to a point where, of course, the governor at that time was at serious loggerhead with the government at the national level over the issue of insecurity. Yeah. We cannot forget in a hurry the horrendous massacre of innocent Nigerians who were perhaps in their farms, in their villages. Some villages were even sacked, completely sacked, by evading Fulani herdsmen, as it were. So now, as if that wasn't enough, we now have President Muhammad Buhari re-elected for a second term, and APC back for a second term, still holding sway at the national. And we have a retired general as a soldier, because that was one of the credentials that was paraded, for which Nigeria trusted that now that we have somebody who must have seen it all, now being at the head of affairs, that he will actually put a match action with West. But that has not been forthcoming.
So that's brings us to where we are today?
That is why we are where we are.
Okay.
And it is so scandalous, I must tell you, to hear Mr. President say that he was going to deal with the issue of insurgency and terrorism with the experience acquired during the Civil War era. It's so scandalous, because you see, we ought to know, Mr. President ought to know by now, as the Commander-in-Chief, that modern warfare dealing with insurgency and terrorism cannot be, fought by the method adopted, the analog method adopted by the defense, what we inherited from the colonial masters.
Okay.
That was used in waging the Civil War. It can't be the same thing. So that, again, you heard Mr. President say, I'm surprised. He was quoted as saying that, it's an established fact. I'm surprised that Boko Haram is still around us. So, when you now had senators, without dwelling on the personality of Senator Inaya Abaribe, but I will tell you, without any attempt to be sycophantic anyway, or praise singing, there is one senator that has been consistent in telling truth to power.
Okay.
It is a statement bordering on exasperation that we are daily seeing horrendous crime being committed and culprits are going scot-free. We are seeing the wrong approaches towards actually solving this problem fundamentally.
So you're thrilled by the fact that there seems to be that uniformity of voices in condemning the security situation and then calling on Mr. President to do something. You're comfortable with
very
that?
Well, very well.
Let me proceed there. Well. Christopher, let me come to you. From all indication, it looks like the inauguration of Amotekun in Western Nigeria has really triggered all of these national debates, national discourse. How sustainable is this? When leaders are obtuse, they create opportunity for the followership to begin to be inventive. That's what Amotekun is. The inventiveness of the Yoruba people, the Yoruba citizenry, where we must give credit to the governors who were the precursors of that program, Amotekun, has woken leaders up from their slumber that we have an existential threat before us. The security situation in Nigeria is existential in nature. It is assuming a catastrophic dimension. And if something is not done drastically, then those who think that they are dwelling in their comfort zones will find that they will be the first to be consumed by the raging inferno that will erupt from the masses and from the society. Truth of the matter is, the president, as he tried to refer, came to become president on 3 planks, primary among which was security, economy, and the other thing. Now, as he also said, because he was an ex-general who had some pedigree, we must consider to him in fighting the Matasine riots those days in Kano, and then has demonstrated 1 or 2 flashes about his nationalistic interests. We thought that 1, he understood the problem enough, and 2nd, he was patriotic enough to take it on head on. That is what Nigerians thought and for which he was voted. Now, the president should begin to ask himself, if he's to go by statistics, can he tell us which security threats that Nigeria faced in 2015 that he has ameliorated to any degree at all? The masses can tell him how many much more security threats we have come under since 2015. We can tell him that. Himself admitted that he was overwhelmed, because that is the language. He was surprised at the insecurity in the Northeast and in Nigeria, especially in Katsina, his home state. What that suggests is that he has the wrong information. The information that has been in the public domain for years, for which we've been crying, the president is surprised to just get that information. So what that tells us is that the security chiefs and the security apparatus that brief the president daily have been briefing him lies. It is when the president saw beyond the lies to the realistic situation, security situation on ground, that he now realized that what he was being told by his security chief was a lie. That what he has on his hand right now is a terrible existential problem that needed to be solved. And that was a clue to the National Assembly to begin to call him up, to rise up to his duty as the chief security officer of the country. Now, a man wrote an article, John Ogbu, I think, who said, and Fanifa Kayode corroborated, he said, it is difficult for the president to stamp out security when the president is the chief security officer and commander-in-chief of both the regular Nigerian forces and the forces of the Boko Haram. It's a public space. And Fani Kayode went...
that's really not...
Yes, I mean, I'm telling you what somebody wrote is
that's just an opinion.
Yes, it's an opinion of John Ogbu.
Out of frustration
yes,
with the system.
I'm waiting for the presidency to come up with counter statistics, because what happened? There was a follow-up to that. Fani Kayode now went into the archives and brought out the president's speeches about his sympathy for Boko Haram, his sympathy and insistence on ensuring that Sharia law is spread around the country. Now, that Sharia law's intention to be spread around the country became a suspicion that was beginning to transmogrify into reality when the Fulanis started to go to all nooks and crannies of Nigeria, and then they were beginning to entrench themselves forcibly and forcefully upon other ethnic groups in Nigeria. And that's what gave rise to the birth of Amotekun. It was a reaction. The speaker just said it. What is the Bajamiya? That it's a desperate reaction. Never mind this adjectival qualification of it. It's a reaction to the desperate situation and desperate security in the Southwest. And that dovetails into other regions, especially with the South-South. I have always talked about regional integration. And regional integration, one of the benefits of regional integration is that there is a regional thinking. It was a regional thinking that produced Amotekun. Where is the regional integration in South-South? Do we have a South-South regional thinking? Because it follows reason and logic that if Amotekun succeeds in the Southwest, as the Yoruba Union president worldwide said, it is the problem of Southwest insecurity is going to move into the nearest neighbor.
That's the South-South.
Which is the South-South. Are we prepared to set up such a regional body to ensure that we also drive those criminals away? Because I tell you, much of the insecurity we have in the South is external. We know how to deal with our armed robbers. With little local vigilantes, we deal with our armed robbers.
Yes.
We know how to deal with our kidnappers. When Obiano took on kidnappers in Anambra State, kidnappers could not stay.
Yeah.
But what we don't know how to deal with, because there's an official cover to the activities, is the Fulani herdsmen in our farms. What we don't know how to deal with is the Fulani herdsmen murdering our wives in our farms, raping our wives in our farms, and killing our men in our farms. Our people are no longer able to go to farm because of the insecurity situation. Yeah. Because every time you apprehend them and you report them to official authority, they somehow find a way to escape.
Okay, let me pause it there,
Yes.
Christopher. I'll come to you in a moment. For such a long time, the conversation has been around the need for us to have state police. And then we had reactions and counter-reactions drilling it. Well, politicians will abuse it. Are we gradually going on that path now?
Well, I will say that arising from the analysis made by my brother here on the intervention of the Amotekun security outfit, which now seemingly is a regional police of the whole of the southwest of Nigeria, that will appear to be a somewhat response to a very bad situation. You know, sometimes there are certain things you need to act to be able to make some other people understand what you are going through. In the southwest, for instance, talking about fast, you are aware that a Yoruba leader lost his daughter to the invading and murderous herdsmen. You are also aware that a one-time secretary to the federal government of Nigeria, Chief Olufalaye, almost had was kidnapped, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
he was kidnapped, and for a very long time, he couldn't even access his farm. And some of his workers in that farm, you know, they never leave to tell their experience. That is just because these are high-profile persons.
Okay.
That's why you'll be able to hear about them. Now, it is not to say that that is not also happening all around the country. I have mentioned Benue before in the course of my opening remarks. You can't forget in a hurry what has been happening in Plateau State. It is all over Nigeria. Even the incidents of kidnapping that is going on, southeast, south, kidnapping for ransom. These are all acts of insecurity.
With the action of Southwest governors and the cries and the calls, are we not going back to community policing or state policing?
That is where I'm going to now.
Okay.
Why that may be eventually. Also, you see, when the Amotekun was launched, a very prominent Nigerian made a statement, I may not remember his name, I said, this action is an indictment on the security architecture of this country. And that is to say, indictment on the policing system and perhaps indictment on the defense system. And that is to say too, because all of these security arrangements are in the hand of a central government, they are being controlled by a central government. It leaves the state component of the federation helpless in the face of this very horrible experience that we have had as a people. I tell you, I had a personal experience where a young, promising man was murdered in Orion by Fulani herdsmen at broad daylight in a village called Oben, oil producing. In Oben, there is a 24-hour military presence in that community. In Oben, there is a police station. And when this thing happened, when the young man was brought down, another one brutally attacked, policemen came. And face to face with the herdsmen, not a single shot was fired by the police. And as I speak with you, Mr. Sonny Duke, the man who committed that murder was allowed to go scot-free.
Of course.
In fact, the DPO was quoted as restraining his men not to fire a shot, not to make any arrest. And that young man died in vain. The soldiers that were there.
Yeah, but you know, we cannot independently verify this claims.
This is what I verify.
Yes, we cannot verify them.
Don't forget that I have represented that constituency before in the state house. Absolutely. And when the incident happened, I visited.
Okay.
And I found part for myself. I spoke with those who lost their breadwinner, their loved one.
Okay.
And I got all of these parts. So I'm not speculating. So now we have come to that point where people are now resorting to self-defense, either by corporate means or by individual means. Because you cannot let yourself, when you can help yourself, you cannot let yourself your life to be snuffed out cheaply, because perhaps government appears to be prioritizing some other things. That is not to say that there are no individuals in the armed forces and in the police that are daily making sacrifice on how to solve this problem. But what appears to be the issue now is proper coordination. We can't continue to have a system or a situation where governors answer security chiefs only in name without corresponding commanding power.
I remember a governor who relinquished that position.
Yeah, there was a governor, yes.
So, I think it was the governor of Katsina State or so.
Was it Katsina or Borno?
Zamfara State.
Okay.
Zamfara State.
I can no answer this.
Yes.
I can no go by this appellation because it's not seemingly like a borrowed robe.
Yes.
So what are we now talking about? The proponents of state policing, of which I am one, seem to be getting credence now and credit on why we say so. Because having a central police system cannot solve the multifarious security challenges that we are having all over the country. And for those who fear that this arrangement perhaps will lead to abuse in the hands of governors, I think all of these things borders on appropriate legislation as to who actually will control the police if we have them. As we speak, we are already having more problem with having a central police than we would have had if perhaps we have yielded to the call for decentralization of the police system, allowing community to have their police, allowing the state to have their police, but with defined roles. With different roles as to how the extent they can go. So when these things are put in legislation, then we'll be on our way toward having some respite in the face of these security challenges.
Thank you. If you just join us, it's still TMI Thursday, X-raying the insecurity situation in the country with the calls for sack of service chiefs by members of the National Assembly. That was a major talking point yesterday at yesterday's plenary, particularly with the Senate. Let me come to you, Chris. Now, if you take a helicopter view of the country, the insecurity situation is not restricted to one state or to one region. As much as you have it in the north, you have it in the south, you have it in the west, you have it in the east. Now, Southwest governors have come up to form a coalition, all right? But we've heard of reactions from the north, or in some parts of the north, saying, well, by reason of this, it has, we're going to sever our relationship with our brothers in the Southwest. Those kind of comments, I don't know what you make of them, against the background that this same problem persist in the north. I mean, in the northeast, you're talking about the epicenter of insurgency, terrorism in Zamfara, in Katsina, and in Plateau, and in Benue, maybe part of Adamawa. You're talking about banditry. And then in the south, you're talking about herdsmen attack. This problem is all over the country. Now we found a region that has perhaps woken up from the slumber to say, this is the direction that we want to go. Knowing fully well that this problem also persists in the north, the kind of reaction that is coming, does it make sense at all to you?
Let us not blanket the reactions.
Okay.
Let's classify them. Achebe told us in Things Fall Apart that old women are always uneasy when dry bones are mentioned in the parable. The uneasy group from the northern part has an identity, the Mieti Allah group. They are the ones that have come out categorically to take it upon themselves as an agenda to ensure that Amotekun is stamped out. The question is why. They need to tell Nigerians why an activity in a regional part of the country to protect lives and property, which the president has sworn by the Constitution to protect, and we have people who have come up with an ingenious, inventive idea to assist, not to substitute, not to displace, but to assist established conventional security forces to carry out that mandate. The president has just said he's overwhelmed by the security situation in the northeast and in the other parts of the country. So I should think that Amotekun should be praised for such inventiveness. But we have a group, the Mieti Allah, who considers Amotekun as a personal affront to them. Why are they uneasy? Because of the dry bone that have been mentioned in the program. Now, they are fueling suspicions that the Mieti Allah group has an agenda that is anti-South and anti-Nigeria by extension. I say they are fueling that rumor because there are groups in the southeast. In fact, Arewa Consultative Youth Forum have supported Amotekun, and a few other groups in the north have lent their voice in support for Amotekun. Why is the Mieti Allah group against Amotekun? They say, and they attributed that to themselves, that Amotekun was formed because of their members in the south, in the northwest. And they had the effrontery and temerity to say that they are also going to arm their members, and that for every attack on their members in the southwest, they are going to give it back to the southwest.
Retaliation. Yeah.
So it tells us that it does look to us like an agenda was intercepted and interrupted midstream, and it has created a kind of furor and agitation on the part of those who have that agenda to drive. Such statements also fuels the thinking that we are not one in this country and that we are pretending. It does appear that as far as the Mieti Allah group is concerned, whatever is happening to the Southerner in their farms and to their families and to their homes are cannon folders for they to burn to achieve their expansionist agenda. If they want to collaborate with other groups in the nation, you collaborate in a civilized way. You don't come to our farms and rape our women and kill our men, and you say by force we must give you our farms to graze. They have a right to existence. It is their right. They should tell us which portion of this earth God gave them. Because I'm from Edo State, I can trace my history back to heaven as an Edo person. Begin to go back the kings of Edo, and I know my roots, and I trace it to my king. So also can the thief man. So also can the Nupe man. So also can, these are tribes in Nigeria. So also can the Oduduwa. Let them trace their ancestral roots and ancestral land in Nigeria. Do we have a people that are born on the streets, itinerant forever? Where is their home in Nigeria? We have suggested that if Buhari wants to carve a place for them, Sambisa is there. It's large enough. It's larger than 2 states. Make Sambisa habitable. Dubai was a desert. It's been made habitable for the United Arab Emirates. And people are existing there. It's one of the highest and most developed countries in the world. You are setting up a Northeast Development Commission. What are you going to be using the money for? Use it to make Sambisa comfortable. Import grass, as the former Minister of Agriculture was going to do, and then ranch your cattle there, and then have a place there. Why must you say by force that Nigeria is your land? No, Nigeria is nobody's land. Nigeria is a component of many ethnic units that agree to come together to form a country. Nigeria is a geographical expression. Yeah. We all have our roots within the context of the so-called Nigeria. So where is their own? What I think that they are is what they have ever been. They are a warlike itinerant group who just love to thrive on violence. But you see, I am happy that the Yorubas have taking the bulls by the horns. And they have come up to say that the fact that we are tolerating this does not mean that we've been cowards. I am coming back to our own region. We cannot sit down here as spectators. You are a leader because you can be proactive. What I have not seen any meeting of the South-South regional governors. Because, God forbid, if there's going to be any what we call eventuality in Nigeria, we are the first casualty. So we should have a regional front and begin to say that there are ways in which people cooperate.
Yeah.
If you cannot cooperate following these parameters and lay down rules of cooperation and engagement, then please pack and go.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Fadogiaki, I mean, there is a feeling that the ethnic division, which some say has widened in recent time, is getting larger by the day. I don't know what your thoughts are here, because this seems to be the crux of the matter right now.
Yes, for those who have said that, they have good reason. Because the mutual suspicion that has been part of Nigeria since independence, that even led to the civil war, claiming thousands of lives, as it were, nothing seems to have been done effectively and effectually to erase those suspicions. The suspicion of domination and subjugation. The suspicion that certain citizens of this country belong to a second-class category, while some others belong to the first-class category. The suspicion that a certain arrangement do exist, where a group of a particular group of people from a particular section of this country want to perpetually appropriate the security arrangement into their hands for the purpose of maintaining the status quo of subjugation and domination. And that suspicion, like I said, has not been helped so much by the way and manner with which we have carried on in tackling the issue of insecurity, making people to feel unsafe even when they are seen to be living in their own fatherland, their country. You know, saying one thing about the need for one Nigeria, the need for unity, the indissolubility and indivisibility of our country in words alone, without actually doing anything correspondingly to give confidence that indeed we are one Nigeria. So, like I said, this has heightened the issue of insecurity and the fact that people don't feel safe when they are living in their own country, Nigeria. And that has, in a way, like I said, also influenced the way and manner in which government has approached the issue of security. Government seem to have, by their own share action, the way they carry on, giving the impression that they exist only to protect and serve a particular minority interest, as it were, other than the larger interest of securing the corporate existence of this country. How do I mean? You have seen the way and manner in which certain actions that are read or interpreted by the government as acts of rebellion, as it were. Talking about the iPod incident that we had in this country. You saw all sorts of campaign being launched. You saw what they call operation, is it crocodile, or there was an appellation given to it. And how many armless and even harmless indigenes of the southeastern part of this country were mowed down, how they were humiliated, how they were subjugated, not attempting to even solve the issues raised by them in a very peaceful manner. At least we are not aware yet that IPOB as an organization in this country bear arms. But in the same country, you saw the massacre, like I mentioned before, in Benue State. You saw the massacre that went all around the Middle Belt. And tell me one person that had been arrested and prosecuted until Governor Otom had to even rise to the occasion and say, I will defend my people, even if it will cost me my political career. All of that was what even made Otom to cross-carpet from the ruling party APC and join the PDP. And today he has been vindicated by the victory he scored during the last election, showing that the people actually support him, that he was fighting their cause. He was fighting for their own security. So you look at issues of appointment. What is considered? Is it competence or some other sentimental issues about bordering on nepotism, primordial sentiments of where the person is from? Can I trust, for instance, a Benin man to be my chief of army staff? Well, because I'm from a particular person sitting as a president of the country, you are aware of the hue and cry. These are generated that the fact that the entire security structure is being dominated by a particular section of people from a particular section of this country. All of these things are now widening the gap of a disunity. It's widening the gap of mutual suspicion. Is continually giving the people the impression that they don't belong to any country called one Nigeria. And that is very, very wrong. Arising again from the fact that governments seem to have forgotten one salient part, that they exist to protect life and property. Not for some people, but for all of their citizens. So government must go all out
Okay.
to do the needful. When Senator Abaribe said President Buhari should resign, and there was a concurrent view from the House of Rep also calling for the resignation of service chief, but they might not really mean it from their heart of heart. It could be the fact that they want to awaken the president and the service chief to their responsibility, the responsibility they owe you and I to protect us. You need to, in fact, it's rather imagined than actually experienced. When a parent will lose children who have been abducted from their school for ages now and nothing to have been done. Yeah. You want to talk about the Leah Sharibu, whose mates were purportedly rescued and is still being held behind, and you don't see a concerted and a committed effort. Without going personal, would the president of Nigeria sleep when any of his children is in captivity? Of course, your answer is as good as mine. Would the chief of army staff sleep with his two eyes closed when any of his kids is being held in captivity? You heard of a camp chairman somewhere in Adamawa State, as it were, who was brutally murdered, and we are still paying lip service. And somebody will have the guts, the audacity to condemn an initiative like the Amoteku initiative, which perhaps to go around. Now, to just put record straight, it was not too long ago when the governor of Edo State attended a security seminar in Asaba. He joined voice with those that have been calling for state policing. And why is it that the power that be seem not to be comfortable with state policing? It is not actually because politicians will use them. The real reason is because they believe that for as long as they control the security apparatus, the rest of us are just lame dogs sitting to be consumed by the system.
Okay, I don't know about that, Pastor Friday. Okay,
I don't know about that. Again. What is the justification of allowing state chief executive go away every month with such humongous amount like 500 million, 600 million,
1
300 million, 1 billion as security votes without a corresponding responsibility?
Okay.
Why? What heart of hypocrisy is that? It shows that something is definitely wrong with the arrangement that we have.
Okay, let me pause it there. Christopher, leadership is key in dealing with this issue of insecurity, particularly with the peculiarities that we have in the country. I'd like to get your thoughts along those lines. And then in addition, there is a school of thought that we've tried several platforms to see how we can forge together as a country, as a people, in terms of people saying, well, let's regionalize. We now have an amorphous arrangement of the 6 geopolitical zones. People have said, well, we fed better as a country when we function at that level. Are we gradually going on that path? I mean, naturally, without, you know, any confrontation, as it were? Are we actually going on that part of regionalization, as it were?
We are going on the path of anarchy. Leadership, as you said, is key in all of this. Leadership means taking initiative, being proactive and visionary to understand the dimensions and direction of society, and then coming up with ideas and coming up with structures that will make you take hold of the levers of society and galvanize the people along common visions and goals. That is missing. When that is missing, what happens is individual initiative. And when you have individual initiative, you have the rule of the tongue, and you have the government of bronze and not brains. What you are going to have is warlords, criminal elements in different enclaves taking over because they have access to arms, they have access to be able to smuggle in arms. And then before you know it, you have criminal elements taking over little enclaves of the country, and then you have anarchy. You have all sorts of, you have a failed state like you have in Somalia. So leadership is key. Where is leadership today? There is a complete sense of being totally overwhelmed by the problems in the country. And that is why people who know say the country is too top-heavy, it's too large, and it is too diversified. Okay. It is diversified deliberately. It is large as God has given it. And because it is diversified deliberately and polarized deliberately because of selfish interests of people who benefit from such polarization but did not anticipate where it was going to lead us, which is where we are now. People now say, we cannot find a man, or we have not found a man. But I think there are people who could do it. But we have not found a man who can galvanize the entire country, come up with a national vision and drive all of us. So they say, let us regionalize or geopoliticalize, if I may use that word. The 6 geopolitical zones are neatly, you know, what do you call it, demarcated. Apart from maybe 1 or 2 arguments within the North Central, whether Kwara should be Southwest or whether Kwara should be in the North Central or whatever. I mean, but we are neatly demarcated. Let us have such geopolitical governments to deal with geopolitical problems. It does not mean extinct the federal government. I mean, it is what they run in America. In fact, in America, what you have is more or less like state republics, because each state has its own full functionality. Absolutely. And then they now subscribe. It's by subscription. To the national government. By winning subscription to the national government. That is what we need. State police, fiscal federalism, whatever, that is what we need. So that we can deal with our regional problems. We understand those regional problems because they are culturally tied. Okay. We understand them because they have some elements of, you know, natural evolution. We can deal with those problems. And then we have a federal government. Now, that takes us back to this sharing formula. You just heard recently that India, the chairman, Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission says that politicians there might be a review of the salaries of political office holders upwards. For him, there is a system of economic morality that can make it go upwards. And that is what has led to the reactions that you have. There should be no system of morality, economic morality, that should make it begin to think upward. Now, if we have an adopted sharing formula where states get the higher percentage of what comes into the national purse, and then you have a leaner center the center will be less attractive than it is today. It is because we have too much at the center, and everybody is trying to play the politics of the center, that we think that there's anything like a federal government. What you have is state governments contributing to a federal arrangement. So if we have a proper sharing formula, if we are not going to go regional yet, we have a proper sharing formula where the federation's account is shared 70 to 30% in favor of the states and the local government areas. The attraction to the center will be less. Then there will be development bottom up, so that you are going to now have things like education should not be under federal government. Things like agric should not be under federal government. These are things that have cultural ties, which people within the region can sit down and say, let us look at our history. For instance, in the Southside geopolitical zone, we are an educationally advantageous state. If we go back to our history, and we would have loved to go on that path. That path would have led us to early technology.
Absolutely.
I will be able to deal with the questions of what to do with our oil. Now, the Northeast is an agrarian society. They can deal with agricultural issues and then think of how to exchange the agricultural produce for our professional, input and technological input. So I don't know why people are afraid of that. They are afraid of that because when you have idle people with rentier mentality who have always fed, there are some people there at the top. They have never done any job in this country. They are fed on this country. There are some big names you hear in this country. Go and look at their profile. They have fed on the federal arrangement and fed on the federal.
So they want the status quo to remain.
They want the status quo to remain because that is the only job they ever had, and that's the only job they ever.
Okay, let's conclude now.
Yes. So when you see people like the state government talking about professional politicians, that's what he's talking about. Yes, you see, people should not have this sense of entitlement where you think that this is Nigerian's money. There's no Nigerian's money. What we have is money generated from regions, from natural resources located in regions. Before it becomes Nigerian money, you would have equitably distributed. And whatever we now decide to send to the federal, that is what is Nigerian money.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. But let's just conclude our conversations on insecurity and cause for sack of service chiefs by the National Assembly. Ambassador Geraki, would that solve the problem, really?
Well, it may not.
Sack the service chiefs.
It may not.
Maybe we sack them today.
It may not. It may not.
Yes.
Actually, it will not do so much fundamentally as solving the problem.
Okay.
Perhaps it could be a starting point. But let me tell you this, my brother. There's nothing as fatal and morbid for a people to lose hope. For about
when we sack the security chiefs, for example, will it?
No, that one will not generate hope. It will not rekindle hope.
Okay.
That is why I said it is not really a solution per se.
Okay.
It could just be something to satisfy the appetite of some persons, because at the end of the day, the same status quo, we have a way of recreating those kind of elements and putting them there. So the point remains this: our government must sit down to see how they can rekindle hope. They can make people to have a sense of belonging. Don't forget, Nigeria has never been this violent. We have never been a people that is known for going on suicide mission. We have never been a people that is known for taking life at will. We have never been a people that is known for suicidal, taking their own life. All of these things is increasing. Don't forget too that it will even be worse. But for the migration to Europe and other better part of the world, it would have been worse than this. People now say, oh, for me to even die here, let me find a way to go out. Why am I saying this? The economic issue, the economic factor need to be looked at seriously. The government of Nigeria, without being partisan in any way, has not done so much at even the balance between the have and the have not. We now have a society where there are extremely rich people and very poor people. As a matter of fact, the international rating said Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. These statistics and analysis or ranking are not just whimsical thinking. They are based on data, they are based on information. And where that is the case, where you have a case of extremely poor and extremely rich, there is no way you will not have people who have become so dissatisfied as to want to now end it all.
So we need to balance that up.
That must be looked at critically.
Okay.
Government must find a way to get the people engaged. You must find a way to make the people productive. How can we still be talking about having a stable power supply, electricity in this country at this age and time? It tells you how even a basic problem we have not been able to tackle it.
Okay.
Much more. A lot of these things are the one giving vent
to all of these challenges
that we have.
Chris, what's your final take?
It's funny. I find it very ludicrous that a whole 109 senator and 360 House of Rep member should wake up in a knee-jerk reaction and say service chiefs resign as a solution to the problems that we have.
Maybe part of the solution.
It's
maybe part of the solution.
When Burutai was appointed, the president was proud to say, "I've never met them before. It was based on your records. That you were." And we know the size of the man between when he was appointed and his size right now. The truth of the matter is that that's not a solution. What I should be thinking, or what I should think as a development expert, is that as I am saying, remove the service chiefs, we come out with the blueprints, analyzing the problems, data-wise. There are serious problems in the military, which is even in the public domain. There are serious problems why the service chiefs have not been able to function properly. There are serious allegations of corruption, which individual NGOs, individual bodies can give you. In fact, Zulu, the governor of Borno, he has much he can tell us. He was addressing the military defense school only the other day, and he was giving them some of the problems. So there's a trust disparity between the military, and this was the military that civilian JTF volunteered to help work in the past. Now there's a serious disconnect. Are you following me? Because of corruption. So now I should expect that the House, the Senate of the country will come up with these allegations, dated, and say, look, this is it, this is it, this is it, these are the problems. So the entire architecture, security architecture, should be reviewed with the sack of the service chiefs. And these are people we have discovered in the ministry by their pedigree that can take this post and present it to the president. Because the president himself has admitted that he's overwhelmed by the problem. So we should expect the House to take leadership right away.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the useful thoughts expressed here. Like we always say, the opinions are entirely those. They're entirely the opinions of those expressing them. Like in this case, our panelists for today, they're not really the views or opinion of the station. But just to say that it helps us to form the right perspectives and opinions on issues, so you can make sense of all that is in the public space, in the public domain. Sacking the service chiefs may not necessarily be the solution to, checkmate the current insecurity challenges, but like Chris said, we need to find a template with a good research. And the interesting thing is that with several universities, research institutions in Nigeria, the data are out there, the information that are out there. All we need to do is just to syndicate them and bring it out as a working document for us to make headway in dealing with the insecurity situation. But whether anybody likes it or not, Amotekun has come to stay. It's expedient. The onus is actually on other regions to either copy it or develop their own, just to ensure that lives and property are safeguarded in the respective domain. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program. Pastor Jeraki, Christopher Jacob, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a short break. We'll be back with you in a moment. Don't go away.